Weather portion of Ag Week now. It's really peak harvest season across the upper Midwest, northern plains area, and some places finishing up. So drier weather in the forecast is actually, for the most part, good news. Generally speaking, it's going to remain mild. There will be a few frosts. There will be a few freezes, more north than south, but we'll gradually get that. But I don't see any unusually cool weather settling in at all. And I also don't really see for the next several weeks any legitimate onset of early winter conditions. It does look like, now there can always be a surprise, but it does look like as we go through the end of October and probably the first middle part of November, maybe through much of November, kind of an absence of real snowy type weather in the northern plains upper Midwest region. Pattern for this week, there's a kind of a meandering jet stream, fairly high amplitude. Wave of low pressure will be moving out. It's going to be taking cool weather with it. So by the time we get to midweek, milder weather will be building back into the plains, and it will be replaced by another low pressure trough. This one looks fairly deep. It'll be more unseasonably cool in the south with this pattern coming through next weekend, but there might even be some temps down in the 40s and 50s into Florida at night, that is. But across the upper Midwest, northern plains, this will be fairly cool weather, I think, into the weekend. As far as precipitation goes, not very much. Rain showers moving out of the Middle West. These I don't think will be terribly heavy. It may get a little more interesting on the eastern edge of the Corn Belt, but other than that, that system will eventually retreat back to the north. Most of the United States will have fairly dry weather as we go through this week, and there will probably be some bands of lake effect snow coming down out of Hudson Bay by the end of the week and the weekend, and some fairly cold air up there. And by the end of the week, another onslaught of Pacific Northwest moisture. As we go through the second week, and now we're talking Halloween and early November, we're going to segue into it will continue to be a dry pattern. The ups and downs with the jet stream will continue. Might even be a few significantly warm days. For the most part, I think Halloween in the Midwest will be fairly comfortable this year. And as far as precipitation goes, and then the cool weather will retreat temporarily, giving us fairly mild weather through the Halloween period. And so things are looking pretty good, and I expect this warmer than average weather by and large to last through the month of November as well. November precipitation is always a little tricky, and it's also a lot less critical unless it falls in the form of snow. Right now, I don't see too much of that. So the overall outlook, drier conditions, generally mild for the next couple of weeks, and I don't see any winter on the horizon, at least not for the next 2 weeks, and probably longer than that.